You can just go there. So it's 60. So it's a month. Oh, right. Rejoice, comrades. Jim Speak is here. Did you? What? And also, rejoice. Sozzled Snake is here. Hi, comrades. I was watching Raptor. He's playing Phasmophobia. Snake Slice. Yeah, I'm curious. Any recommendations? You can whack them in the philosophy channel. It's easier to put books and other sort of articles in there. Masquerade! Childhood fave. Damn you, Jim Speak. Our childhood favourite, you right in the slice. I was in my 20s when I read that. Oh dear God. You have to remember I was... You thought, Christ, I'm only 6 years older than you. Well, 7. Old bean. Okay. I'll get rid of my channel master manager so I can go to my videos. I've got one video and I watch later. Oh, right. I was like, how old was I? Colour Magic came out in 86, I believe, and I was 7 years old. I got to read them when I was in secondary school, so my librarian gave them to me. 86, yeah, I was 7. and my librarian gave them to me to read while I was in the place, and I managed to get through like, so that would be 90 onwards. So it'd be like, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them out at that point. So I read all of them up from then onwards. Then when I got my flat in Clydebank, I just bought like 10 of them in one go. The wee lassie behind the till in Waterstones in Glasgow City Centre just seemed stunned because I bought, no, it was 15 actually. I bought the first 15 books in one foul swoop in like 2000 or something. She thought I was mature enough when I was 11 to read them some of the humour in the later books. I recommended them to my nephews. Only one of them is reading them now, but he's a bit sci-fi and fantasy coded, really. Plus, if he needs any, my sister doesn't read. She likes like Flowers in the Attic and shit like that, and horror books like Stephen King and shit. Kunst, blah blah blah, those kind of writers. But my younger nephew absolutely loves Pratchett, and he thanks me and my other sister for introducing Pratchett to him. He's struggling with gaming. A bit odd. What's the best one? My favourite one's got to be Thief of Time or Third. Am I more City Watch or Death Cloak? Well, that's a mixture. There's loads of people in Thief of Time. That's like a standalone with like lots of different people in it. Yeah, well, he was a journalist. Then Third's brilliant. I've got all of them up until Making Money or Going Postal. Whatever one of those ones is later. I got up to that. There's like 5 or 6 that I haven't got. Like, I think the next one after that, the first one that I didn't buy was Unseen Academicals. I've read it, but I don't have it. In fact, all my Discworld books and the 2 gaming ones that I've got are in a box. I can see the box sitting over there, taunting me. Well, they're going to have to wait. The bookcases we want to get are from IKEA. They're only £19, so we're going to have to get them delivered. So Super Hubby's going to buy them at the weekend and get them delivered. So we can actually get the books out of boxes. And we should be able to get 2 boxes into the bookcases that we're buying. So they're steel frame with stone shelving. Really good value for money, actually. If they're the same standard as so they're just standard steel. The ones that we've got here are burnished steel. They're black. They look awesome with the stone shelving. Get behind me, sozzled. Rejoice, comrades, Eldon Hubward is here. Oh, come on, will they come after us? We'll be the ones kicking up a stink, us Scots, if they try rounding us up. They've tried that once or twice in the past and it's not went well for them. So, he'll mend them, really. Yeah. It'd be good. Mine seems relatively tame next to Elron. What? Seriously? Oh, for Christ's sake. It's a funny play on names, you wanker. Seriously, some people just need to chill. Oh, right, let's go to my watch later. Right. Have any of you seen this one by demo? I was saving this one for a stream. They're quite clever. Oh God, whose stream was it? I was talking to them too. I can't remember what stream it was. He was, and he took over like a pro when we lost Sarah. I missed just the last sort of 10 minutes because I jumped over to start annoying Kev quickly. Because obviously we have to annoy our Brummy comrade. Oh my God, I need to find that story and post it in the news just to make Kev laugh. Where are we? Watch later. Playlists. Watch later. Yeah, I know they're taken down by the bloody the uploader. He was a cultist. He was weird as fuck. And apparently you can't leave. Even though some high profile celebrities have managed to get out. It's fucking nuts. I don't know if they have much of a following or members here. Congregants? I don't know what they're called. Adherents? Oh God, Kyle. Yeah.
Right, so the Labour MP Peter Kyle built the foundations of his public reputation as a humanitarian out in the field, in fact. We're near the... Right, so the Labour MP Peter Kyle built the foundations of his public reputation as a humanitarian out in the field, in fact. We're near the corridors of Westminster, but in the post-conflict zones of Eastern Europe. He used to be an aid worker in Romania and Bosnia and Kosovo. He witnessed firsthand the suffering of displaced children and the moral duty of those in power to act in the face of catastrophe.
Thank you, Elron.
His early career was defined by compassion and direct service to the vulnerable. That image of the principled humanitarian turned politician followed him into Parliament, where he rose through the ranks of the Labour Party to become Secretary of State for Science, Innovation and Technology under Keir Starmer. And yet the Peter Kyle who now sits on the front bench bears little resemblance to the man who once helped deliver aid and decried bureaucratic indifference. Today, Kyle stands accused not of confronting injustice, but of enabling it.
Fucking full transformation on his behalf,
genocide unfolding in Gaza, smeared internet privacy advocates as predators. His office triggered the police arrest of a Brighton constituent who emailed him about Palestine, and chosen party loyalty over any morality he seemingly ever once had. His trajectory is not simply one of political transformation, it is a case study in how public conscience can be quietly extinguished in the pursuit of power. And it's little wonder, therefore, that his constituency, in light of all of this, has become a focal point of what is a broader picture of more national displeasure at this government and its actions where it comes to Gaza and Israel. Right, so Peter Kyle's early biography is defined by experiences that ought to shape a conscience for life. He worked with the charity Children on the Edge and spent nearly a decade in the Balkans, including during and after the Bosnian War. He was instrumental in establishing an orphanage in Romania. He later completed a PhD in community development. In 2018, reflecting on his time in the aid sector during the Oxfam abuse scandal, he wrote of chaotic yet brave workspaces and the duty of organisations to respond to suffering with transparency and humanity. These reflections came from his lived experience, from working with traumatised children and navigating the bureaucracies of international aid. This moral grounding is precisely why Kyle's current position now feels so jarring to so many of his constituents and other people who are looking in. A man who once gave speeches about rebuilding war-torn communities now avoids condemning mass starvation, forced displacement, and military targeting of Palestinians. When a politician with Kyle's past refuses to speak out against clear violations of international law in Gaza, when he parrots cautious language about humanitarian pauses while hospitals and schools get reduced to rubble, it raises a deeper question. What happens when political survival takes precedence over the very values that brought someone into public life to begin with? The Israeli assault on Gaza has, since October of 2023, drawn condemnation from across the humanitarian world. The International Court of Justice declared that Israel's actions in the territory plausibly constitute genocide. UN agencies have documented systematic obstruction of aid, of mass killing of civilians, the use of starvation as a weapon. The very agencies Kyle no doubt worked with the likes of before entering politics himself. Entire universities have been demolished. Bakeries and clinics have gone. Water infrastructure has been devastated. A war of starvation enacted. The World Health Organization, Médecins Sans Frontières, they've declared the situation one of catastrophic humanitarian collapse. Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International have documented widespread violations of international humanitarian law. Israeli human rights group B'Tselem has openly accused the Netanyahu government of pursuing a campaign of ethnic cleansing in Gaza, have directly accused their own state now of committing genocide. So in this context, therefore, calls for an unconditional ceasefire have come from these same organisations. And yet Peter Kyle, like much of the Labour front bench, not to single him out particularly in this respect, has refused to join those calls. Instead, he has echoed the leadership's preferred framework of supporting time-limited humanitarian pauses that serve more as public relations than actual relief. But the moral vacuum in this response sticks out like a sore thumb. Kyle, the former aid worker, understands what it means for food convoys to be blocked. He's seen this sort of thing happen, for children to be pulled from the rubble. He's worked in such areas. He knows that pauses in bombing are not the same as peace. And yet, he sticks with the government message on these things, doesn't he? In Brighton and Hove, his patch, a quite progressive part of the country, this silence has not gone unnoticed. Just the other week, residents staged a dramatic protest outside Kyle's Church Road office. Hundreds of pots, pans and cooking utensils were laid outside the door, then banged loudly by demonstrators there. These items symbolise not only the destroyed kitchens of Gaza, but also the images of desperate people holding pans out at food distribution centres, hoping today is the day they might get fed.
My stepdad was a truck driver as well. The heavy goods, like your fucking massive ones. He hated it. He hated it. Said the European roads are nicer. The drivers aren't. France is something odd, apparently. But all the other European countries were quite good. Mostly sane drivers. But here in Britain, absolute bellends, apparently. I don't drive. Everyone else does. Well, not my nephews yet. The eldest is learning. My sister is literally having kittens about it. The only reason he kept on doing it was for the money. He was P&O driver. He was a ferry master, the big fucking yellow ones. So the only reason he had to stop is he got told to stop because of parachutes. Yeah, it'll be the AI trucks that get us. We'll get mowed down by the bastard things. If Teal gets his fucking way. No, even if he was still driving, he would have basically packed it in after the way P&O fired their staff. He just went, what the fuck? And literally called his old boss up saying, what the fuck is happening? So at that point onwards, he got discounts for like P&O ferries and stuff. And that side of the business, because he was an employee of P&O. So he handed that back in and said, fuck that, I'm not using them anymore. Fucking bastards. His boss said, don't give up your discount, because it was a fucking huge discount he got off of shit. He says, no, I'm not doing it. Doing that to staff? They could have done that to me. But because they need the fucking drivers, they will never do that to their long distance or HGV drivers. Don't get me wrong, they probably make more money on the sea side, the sea part of the business than they do with the obviously transportation still exists that they need to have. But they wouldn't dare. They said they wouldn't dare do that to us because they know how angry most of us would be. But that was a shitty thing to do. P&O, you bastards. Get to fuck. Eek, fuck. Leave them. I don't have Netflix, unfortunately. I'll say to my niece, they can record it for me, and I can watch it up at my mum's. I'm going to bite the bullet and get Disney Plus, unfortunately, so I can get all my MCU, and Super Hubby can get his Star Wars. Plus, there's other shit on there that we'll watch. Thank you, Jim. Leave the world behind. Oh, fucking hell. Upper Hill?
This protest captured the broader truth. The demand for a ceasefire is not radical, it's not ideological, it's a cry for the preservation of life. It's a basic. It's a starting point. It should be. That Peter Kyle cannot even echo this minimal demand, despite his humanitarian past, is a betrayal of the principles he once embodied, clearly. Don't you not think? The starkest example of this, though, was the shocking incident that unfolded the month before in Brighton. At 4 a.m, police officers raided the home of a 54-year-old woman who had emailed Kyle and other MPs days earlier to express anger at the ongoing genocide in Gaza. The email had actually been directed at others. She only copied in her own MP, Kyle, out of respect. But she was arrested, held for 8 hours, had her devices seized. Her messages, while emotionally charged certainly, were not threatening. Yet the response was swift and punitive.
Yes.
This incident was
Reasons.
triggered by Kyle's own office, as it turned out. Chris Henry, Kyle's director of operations, filed the complaint that led to the arrest. Kyle has not publicly condemned the police action, nor offered support to the woman detained, his constituent. Instead, he's allowed the inference to linger that emotional expressions of political rage are now grounds for criminal investigation. That emailing your MP about genocide could actually lead to your arrest. Well, that's just an insane thought, isn't it? And yet, we've seen it happen. But this, of course, is more than just a localised scandal. It's a microcosm of a growing national trend, the criminalisation of political speech. Under the pretext of protecting public figures, dissent is being reframed as harassment. The law used, potentially the Malicious Communications Act of 1988 or the Communications Act of 2003, was originally designed to deal with threats, not
Clever.
critique. The Crown Prosecution Service's own guidelines emphasise that prosecution must be necessary and proportionate, and that heightened public interest applies to speech directed at politicians. Legal experts and civil liberties advocates argue this arrest may actually breach Article 10 of the European Convention on Human Rights, which protects freedom of expression, including political speech that offends, shocks, or disturbs. When an MP's office enables such disproportionate enforcement, it sends a dangerous signal. Moral dissent no longer welcome in the British democratic process, and it all lends more weight to the increasing viewpoint that the Starmer regime is repressive and is authoritarian. When even writing an email about genocide to your own MP risks a knock on the door before sunrise, we're no longer dealing with representative democracy. We're dealing with fear and deterrence and the suffocation of conscience. Peter Kyle's conduct as a cabinet minister reveals another dimension of his transformation from moral actor to political functionary. As Secretary of State for Science, Innovation and Technology, Kyle is responsible for the implementation of the Online Safety Act, which mandates age verification for accessing adult content and introduces sweeping new powers for regulators to police internet activity. In defending the Act, Kyle has gone further than many of his colleagues. On national television and in interviews, he declared that if you want to overturn the Online Safety Act, you are on the side of predators. He invoked the name of Jimmy Savile. He implied that those who use VPNs to avoid the law are aiding child abusers. These are extraordinary claims. VPNs, virtual private networks, are legal in the UK and widely used for legitimate purposes, from cybersecurity to whistleblowing to avoiding data profiling. They are used by human rights organisations, by journalists, by political dissidents around the world. They are also used by ordinary people who simply wish to protect their own personal data from surveillance. So Kyle's framing not only demonises those who resist intrusive internet laws, but collapses all dissent into moral deviance. It's a tactic straight from the authoritarian playbook. Conflate privacy with criminality and watch the public self-censor. What makes Kyle's position especially indefensible is that several MPs in his own party, including senior figures like Jonathan Reynolds and Sarah Champion, have claimed VPN subscriptions on their own expenses. This was documented by a Politico investigation which showed that parliamentary VPN use is not only widespread, but state-funded. We're paying for them to do this. In short, VPNs are fine for ministers, but suspicious when used by the public. That's not law enforcement, that's ideological policing. Kyle, who once worked to protect the communications and safety of children in war zones, now denigrates tools that allow British citizens to protect their privacy from their own government. Civil liberties groups such as Liberty and Open Rights Group have voiced alarm about the Online Safety Act's potential to normalise surveillance and pave the way for encrypted messaging bans, content censorship, and the stigmatisation of anonymity online. Kyle's language linking VPN use to paedophilia has made him a central figure in a campaign to render privacy toxic. The unintended consequences of the Online Safety Act extend far beyond the boundaries of social media. Among the major organisations sounding the alarm is the Wikimedia Foundation, which operates Wikipedia, one of the most visited non-commercial platforms going. The Act's sweeping definitions of harmful content and its mandates around age verification risk ensnaring not just for-profit tech companies, but open knowledge projects dedicated to public education. Wikipedia hosts user-generated content and allows anonymous editing by volunteers. This makes it theoretically subject to the same duties imposed on other platforms to assess and mitigate content risks for children. But applying age verification or real name identity policies to Wikipedia would fundamentally undermine its open collaborative model. It would deter contributions, shrink access, and erode trust in it, whatever you might think of Wikipedia. And Wikimedia UK has warned that the Online Safety Act could lead to what it calls a chilling effect on free expression and public knowledge. Furthermore, there's concern that Ofcom's new enforcement powers, broad and ill-defined, could be used to demand changes to Wikipedia pages dealing with politically sensitive subjects. And this has led to fears that Wikipedia could face censorship pressures over articles relating to Gaza, to LGBTQ+ issues, political protest, or historical interpretation. Thus, Peter Kyle's enthusiastic promotion of the Online Safety Act not only demonises privacy-conscious citizens, it potentially undermines one of the few remaining digital commons. It's a reminder that the real danger of such laws lies not just in their immediate use, but in the structures of control they make possible. When even encyclopedias are in the regulatory crosshairs now, the public should ask who really feels safer here, and at what cost. Peter Kyle's transformation from aid worker to cabinet
They should have fucking realised the minute this legislation passed and went active that millions of UK citizens, which is what people who have never known or probably known about VPNs if they use the internet a lot, like most people, some people have to. You have to apply online for certain for all benefits now. Come to think of it, they still send you out the paper fucking forms and but you have to apply online for shit, and you can't do that from a VPN because you'll not be able to download it because you're in another country. They haven't really thought this through, have they? The only thing people will be using the internet in the UK for now is to check gov.uk to see the latest bunch of bullshit. We had to apply for our, well, we got migrated over to universal credit, and we had to go through the online form for both of us, joint claim, because we're married. But then we still went in and we still had to fill out a fucking form. Well, Super Hubby filled out both the forms. Well, there was one huge fucking form, not two separate forms, because hands gubbed, and apparently I can't write properly because of arthritis. So we had to do the online, but because we're up here in Scotland, we get it separate. It gets split, so we get ours every 2 weeks, not the month. And our rent goes straight to our housing association, the council tax straight to the council. Easier. But yeah, that's all people will be using it for now, really, the internet, without using a VPN, because you'll not be able to go to gov.uk. Well, you might be able to go to visit gov.uk, but you'll not be able to do any of your requirements if you're on universal credit. I tried to do that for my part of it because it was a joint claim, and Super Hubby is deemed fit because he's technically my carer. That's why we're still a little bit panicked, because he might lose money he gets for looking after me because I'm on, well, used to be PIP, but it's adult disability payment, so that's up here now in Scotland. So he's thinking we might lose a good chunk of money a month. We're keeping an eye out, don't worry. Yeah, the New Scots version of PIP, and I'm on the full amount now. I was on the bare minimum of PIP for fucking years. Be a neat trick to means test disability. Seriously, I'm waiting for it. She'll want to do it, and everyone will, doctors included, nurses, medical professionals, will turn around to Liz Kendall and say, you can't means test disability. We're all unique. We're all different. We've all got different levels of disability. Yeah. It will, Elron. You can't means that you can means test for. You really shouldn't be means testing anyway. It costs more. It's more to administer. So if they want to save money, they can just get rid of all means testing. Doesn't work. Universality and get it back through either taxation. Or, well, that'd be the only way. But a lot of people who they do the means testing to are pensioners. I'm waiting for the triple lock to go. Then all the boomers go, no. And us Gen Xers just saying, well, we're fucked. Super Hubby is a Gen Xer like me. He is an older Gen Xer, obviously. I will not give his exact age, but he is fast approaching retirement age. Laughs in millennial. I feel for my nieces and nephews. I really do. I think they're fucked. So they're Zoomers, and yeah, youngest one, she's alpha. Sorry, sweetie. Is she millennial? They're millennial. If someone was born in 99, are they a millennial or a Zoomer? Yeah, same with me, Elron. It's been 24 fucking years since I've actually worked, like physically went out of the house and went to a job. And even at that, before that, I started working when I was 15. Technically, I've only got 12 years of stamp, which is not enough. You have to get 25 minimum to get your state pension, but when you go into disability benefits, you get your stamp as well. That got changed. That was Gordon Brown that brought that in before the fucking Cameron coalition government came in. Oh dear God. I did. My sister's partner, he's a former, well, he was Remy, and he maintained the tanks for the army, so cavalry. But he can't go back to, well, he does work, but he's still a mechanic, but he's part-time now. My sister's the breadwinner. She brings in the most money to the household. Mine's a 68. Another 22 years. They better not fuck with it, or they're going to have to deal with an angry Scottish disabled woman. Hell mend them if that ever happens. Literally, I'll get on their fucking arse. Just fucking stop it. They already done over my mum. She was a waspie. She had to work for 5 more years. She was not best pleased. Poor mum. Ah, did he? Well, brother-in-law, it's easier to say. Second Gulf in Afghanistan. Well, Afghanistan, then second Gulf. They needed his skills because apparently he was a wizard at fixing the Challengers, both 1 and 2. And he just used to say to his German colleague, because the hub where all the tanks got fixed was all European countries. So all their different tanks and stuff from. He used to go up and admire the Leopard, saying, "Why can't we do that anymore? We used to build brilliant tanks." Ooh. My granddad was a sapper, North Africa and Europe. Correct, Oswald. Correct. But dear God, I don't know what my granddad would think of this work. What would he be? If my granddad was still alive, he'd be 110. When's his birthday? When was his birthday? Give me a minute. Oh, his birthday's May. So yeah, he would have been 110. Died before I was born. Died afterwards, but I was born in the March and he died in May, 2 days after his birthday. That's how I remember it. So I was born in 79, and that's the year he died. So he's been dead for 46 years. He didn't like like a lot of them. He didn't like talking about the war. He was basically clearing minefields in North Africa and shit. My other granddad wasn't old enough. He would have been 25. Oh no, he was reserved. He was in college, learning to be a draftsman at that point. So he was a reserved occupation. He didn't get sent over, so he was lucky. That's my dad's dad. And both my grannies, fucking weird, worked in cotton mills. One up in Perth and one down here in Glasgow. It's fucking odd. Weird world. $15, $21 for granny, $22 for granddad, $25 for granny. So 1915, my mum's dad. 1921, my granny, my mum's mum. 22 for my dad's dad, and 25 for my dad's mum. So she would have been 100 this year. Oh God, no, her birthday's in September. She died a few years ago. Dementia, vascular problems. She got diagnosed with vascular dementia when she died. I got money last year. She died 4 years ago. She died in 1921. Oh God, she was 100. No, 25 for aye, she was 96. Ah, Klepper theory of value, sweet. So in a nutshell, means productions people take over. They are, that's, but that does, there's a lot that goes, you can't do Marxism in a nutshell. Fucking hell. Someone's literally asked me in the pub, so what is leftism? There's like 50 different types of leftism. It gives a relatively decent explanation. We could maybe get Helena to do it. She can explain what Marxism is. Might take her for a while. What I do is we've stopped it now. A lot of my niece's friends who are interested, who consider themselves socialists, we used to have a monthly Zoom, and I would educate them about it all, and we've done that for about 3 or 4 years. We stopped last year. The only reason it started up was because of the pandemic. and they were curious, and I helped them, and I gave them book recommendations, which is good. So the books are better, but I can explain, I can help you. I can be your introduction to the left, if you wish. Obviously, capital's the best one if you want to get through all of it. Warning, lots of books. Being a leftist is an ongoing project for all of us, obviously.
Minister, not an unusual one. Many politicians reinvent themselves from the careers they had before. But what is unusual and tragic is that in his reinvention, Kyle has abandoned the very principles that once made him effective and admirable. His silence on Gaza, his complicity in political policing, his smearing of privacy advocates, and his subordination of truth to power all speak to a deeper crisis in British politics. We are witnessing the rise of a new political type, the technocratic moralist, who uses the language of safety to suppress dissent, who conflates privacy with moralist, and who allows conscience to be criminalised in the name of standards. Kyle did not invent this role, but he plays it very well. And yet the story is not over. His constituents, those banging pans outside his office, those writing letters, those risking arrest apparently to speak out, are reminding the country of what real moral clarity looks like. They are the true legacy of humanitarianism in public life. Kyle may have forgotten it or abandoned it, but they haven't. Little wonder with senior Labour figures such as this that so many Labour councillors have been jumping ship to other parties, defecting or just quitting out of disgust and sitting as independents. But it really is something when some are jumping ship with the intention of joining a party that still isn't quite a party yet, and still very much doesn't have a name. Yes, Labour is losing councillors, it seems, to Corbyn's new nameless party already. So do check out that story in this video recommendation here as your suggested next watch. If that doesn't speak volumes, I don't know what does. Please do also hit like, share and subscribe if you haven't done so already, so as to ensure you don't miss out on all new daily content, as well as spreading the word and helping to support the channel at the same time, which is very much appreciated. Holding power to account for ordinary or working class people, and I'll hopefully catch you on the next video. Cheers, folks.
I will show you the best... Oh, yeah, I know 5 are hidden because the uploader took them down. They've promised to bring them back. The 3 different streamers, 3 different YouTubers. I think one of the ones that I had on here was by another beast, Katie Montgomery. She's fixing it. I know what to do. I will show you the best one on her. Ah! Oh, there we go. Killed. And if you have not, where is it? Go to the channel. For full clarity, I am a Patreon of Kane Skittles because he be based. He be Canadian, but he lives in Manchester. Videos. Oh, right. Yeah, the tragedy of the commons. Oh, that one on Oppenheimer's really good. If you want to... He's got a really good voice, Kay. No. Where is it? Ah! Oh, Kay and Skittles. New channel. Videos. Where is it? Oh.
Hey, it's Kay. And this is Skittles, Treasury Secretary. Neoliberalism, the ideological belief in the free market, in deregulation and reduced government interference. Or at least, that's how it's typically discussed. Today we're
11:30. The bus I get at 10:02. Then the next one after that isn't until 20 minutes out. It's every hour because first bus suck. I emailed them about a month ago saying stop doing that. Rejoice, some random geek is lurking in the void. Watch out for the tardigrades geek. There's another beast individual. Some random geek, be good. He do Fortnite. He do Marvel Rivals. He, they, pronouns. Yeah, they suck. First, Glasgow is particularly egregious for buying up routes from smaller companies who are older. The only I hate having to do this because Anne Gloag and Brian Suter are fucking capitalist scum to me. Stagecoach in Glasgow. The routes that they have, first tried to buy them out, just keeps on throwing money at Stagecoach, and they just tell them to fuck off. Well, politely, I think, in business speak. Nationalisation Replacement Service. That's quite clever. That's funny. Oh, Jim, pin yourself. That is deliciously funny. I love that. I've actually went to a town hall with representatives like our MSP, councillors for 6 of the main wards here in North Glasgow. This was fucking years ago. Our MP in a chapel just get my orientation right over and down in that direction over there. And lots of us were just saying they had literally just bought out 2 smaller firms and said we're going to maintain, we're going to make them better, going to be better service, it's going to be a better bus, blah blah blah, and all that. And 6 months later, gone. They cut the route. And that was the one that was going to the main hospitals in the north, so like Glasgow Royal Infirmary, Stop Hill, and well, when it was still open, the Western, and they cut it. They got rid of it. There was a bus company called McGill's. They still run. They still got routes because first won't go north of Bishopbriggs. Not that much. They don't go into a lot of the smaller villages and stuff out past Bishopbriggs. So McGill's have held on to that route, and it's a better service and it's better buses. Yeah. No problem. I can wait. Yeah, first they're horrible bastards. And this was years ago we were talking about it. Like this little chapel got filled up. Literally there was like over 150 people at this, so there was like 1, 2 MSP, MP, one of the list, representative for First, representative for Stagecoach and McGill's, and an advocacy for better transportation links for the north of Glasgow. So there were 7 people sitting on the 3 stage, long table, and about was it 158 or something of us. It was packed. And for us, for my little slice, my little section in the north of Glasgow, they all nominated me to talk. For us all, there was that. So I was talking on behalf of like 50 odd people. Yeah, about 5 closes, roughly, in this sort of little area. Apparently I'm very eloquent and I don't lose my rag. I do, obviously, but dealing with bureaucrats, I seem to be good at it. I get my point over. She better not fucking try to tone police you. Have fun. I will be thinking of you. Do you need to get her tail anyway? Do you think she'll lose her seat? I hope she does. Either Green or the Corbyn Sultana party. Seriously, some of them are really fucking egregious, and I hope Kyle gets fucking booted. I just realised that makes him Jessica Kilgren-Fozard. I think that might be her MP. Poor Jessica, having to deal with that. There's another good YouTuber you should all check out. Jessica's fucking amazing. Media analysis, disability issues. Her wife has just had twins. Hope you're doing okay, Claudia. I've heard what it's like for first time parents of twins. Mum didn't give away too much. My mum was a midwife. She didn't give too much away, but she said they'll all be fun for them. Twin pregnancies are difficult. My mum's younger brothers, they're twins, and it apparently put my gran through the ringer. Our first one done her in. My eldest uncle. What's her, if you can check while still talking to me, what's her majority? If it's anything less than 10,000, it's shit. Mind you, I think there's hardly any of them in that fucking place with majorities of over 20,000 now. There is no such thing as a safe seat anymore. I think my MP's got a decent budget. 5,000, maybe 6,000? Something like that. Don't like the fucking bitch. She fucked the next general election. Fucking victory. In fact, give me a minute. Give me. Oh, wrong way. No, not that way. That way. No! Oh, she's a junior minister. Fucking hell. Just go into it, fuck's sake. Let's see. Policy. Go. What is majority? Ah! Behave, Simless. Go into the elections, you piece of shit. Ah! That's illegal. Oh, motherfucker. She's just under 18,000. I think that's one of the largest ones I've seen. You won't last. Ah, motherfucker. Haha. Oh, I'm just piss off, stupid Thomas phone. 1, 2, 3, go.
We're going to explore an often overlooked aspect of neoliberalism that even many of its critics miss. To do that, we have to go back to what is commonly considered the beginning of the neoliberal turn. Long before Clinton's market-based solutions to education and housing, even a few years before Reagan started arming Contras, in a putrid grey island nation that is known to historians only as the United Kingdom. In the 1980s, this wretched place was ruled by a great evil. Even today, its name is whispered in hushed tones, lest her specter be summoned. They say on a cool, quiet night, if you put your ear to the ground, you can still hear her, burning in hell.
Good, I hope she's burning. Ha!
World War II, and you may have heard this, was a pretty bad time. In an
Not
effort
wrong.
to avoid a repeat of the severe depression and social unrest that followed the First World War, the British coalition government, headed by Churchill and Attlee, promised the development of a strong set of publicly owned services following World War II. This would be delivered by the following Labour government and included the NHS and a robust welfare system. This led to a sort of Keynesian mixed economy that is often referred to as the post-war consensus. This saw Labour and even Conservative governments tolerating trade unions at a level they had not before and never would again. In return, the Labour unions would play ball and not do anything too revolutionary. This strong labor movement combined with the aforementioned public investment led to rapid increase in living conditions for many, as poverty rates plummeted from 18% before the war to an estimate between 4 and 9% by the 50s. Basically, this was the last time things were looking up for anyone except landlords on the British Isles. Thatcher's election in 1979 was in part a response to a series of economic crises that had defined the 70s, including a global stock market crash, a banking crisis, and an oil crisis. Her response to this economic instability was a simple one. The free market would get us out of this jam, but to free the market, we have to destroy the post-war consensus and suppress labor unions who are restricting the market with pesky inefficiencies like workers' rights. During Thatcher's reign, she would transition both the economic model of the UK, but also the ideological norms of the country towards neoliberalism. Neoliberalism is free market ideology. It holds that if we deregulate the market, it can and will solve our economic problems and lead to greater prosperity for all. John the Duncan, who makes a lot of great videos about neoliberalism, cites award-winning American economist Joseph Stiglitz, describing neoliberalism as
that grab bag of ideas based on the fundamentalist notion that markets are self-correcting, allocate resources efficiently, and serve the public interest well. It was this market fundamentalism that underlay Thatcherism, Reaganomics, and the so-called Washington Consensus in favour of privatisation, liberalisation, and independent central banks focusing single-mindedly on inflation.
John goes on to rightly point out a problem with the way Stiglitz characterizes neoliberalism. He is certainly criticizing neoliberalism in this article, which opens by saying, history has not been kind to neoliberalism. But he does so in a way that makes a crucial mistake. And it's a mistake that is echoed by the helpful "What is neoliberalism?" explainers put out by the BBC and Harvard University that come up first if you search neoliberalism on YouTube. Both Stiglitz, the highly regarded academic, and these serious, well-resourced institutions are assuming that the rhetoric of neoliberalism necessarily lines up with the economic policy of neoliberalism, which wouldn't be a problem unless politicians weren't always completely honest with us.
You really think someone would do that? Just go on the Parliament and tell lies?
Neoliberalism is best understood in two halves: ideology and economics. The small state, free market fetishizing narrative about neoliberalism that we see from Stiglitz and most mainstream discussions of neoliberalism is often treated as if it is its economic policy, when in fact it is its ideological policy. The idea that the market possesses an almost mystical capacity for self-correction and management, if only the darn state would stay out of its way, is an ideological statement. And ideology isn't for your leaders, it's for you.
Oh.
So, why do I describe what many consider to be the heart of neoliberalism as ideological but not economic? Because neoliberal governments like Thatcher's do not actually shrink the state or follow a policy of non-interference in the market. Like the neoliberals who would follow her, Thatcher loved the state. In fact, Thatcher significantly expanded the police and security aspects of the state throughout her time in power. This was necessary in part to combat organized labor, from which she was attempting to strip crucial rights and protections. In addition, Thatcher's government maintained what Richard Woodward calls a dual industrial policy. This is the practice of rhetorically opposing state intervention in the market, while in reality intervening quite extensively. Thatcher's government actually subsidized key industries, including the automotive industry, which also featured a bailout of British Leyland to the tune of just under £1 billion, which, adjusted for inflation, is worth in 2022.
5 trillion.
The agriculture industry also received enormous subsidies, and in 1981, Thatcher defended the heavy subsidization of British farms after promising that the state would stop interfering in the market by stating that our farmers are being asked to compete not on equal terms, but against heavily subsidized competitors. We like equality now, Maggie. This is a very revealing statement. It is an admission that the fundamental argument that industry is at its best when unregulated and free of the state is incorrect. If left to their own devices, British agriculture companies would not have been able to compete with those of other countries operating on a more Keynesian model, where many are partially or entirely nationalized and subsidized with public money. That economic model simply competes more effectively. Keep that idea in mind for a little later. So, how did she get away with this? Taking every opportunity to extol the virtues of state non-interference in industry and using that firmly held belief to attack regulations on businesses and workers' rights, and then turning around and massively subsidizing private industry. That kind of hypocrisy should have been political self-destruction, surely. Well, she deployed a very clever trick that is known in the field of political science as lying.
You really think someone would do that?
Woodward's research into the spending of Thatcher's government found that while on paper industrial subsidy reduced during Thatcher's leadership, enormous sums of government spending were simply being categorized as something else. For example, billions of pounds of agricultural subsidy were instead classified as
concept called a short victorious war, and Galtieri literally handed her one on a plate. Thanks. Oh, well, the Falklands. A short victorious war, and that propelled her back into number 10. She shouldn't have won that one. She should have been fucking booted. But because she won, she went on to destroy us all. I despise her. I wouldn't put it past them. And the fact that the people on the Falklands still consider them, they call it they're British. They literally class themselves as British. They have British passports and everything. Oh God, yeah. It was in the fucking, yeah. Is it halfway to the fucking sea? God, that shouldn't talk about that. Urgh. But yeah, her approval rating was fucking dog shit. Well, relatively, because Keir's is just fucking God. Serves him right. You got put into change, and look what they're doing. They're just carrying on what the Tories were doing. Same economic fucking policies. Oh God, yeah. Well, 1979. So basically, the days I was a wee lassie. But in the 90s, I started learning more about this when I was in secondary school, so like 3rd year onwards. So my formative years were formed with Major and Blair. Lying two-faced bastard, him. Supposed war criminal. But the Hague's not for Western leaders, obviously. Fucking should be.
As departmental research, advisory services, and administration. I'm completely serious. It's as simple as that. They just classified their subsidies as something else in the Treasury and said, look, we're spending less on subsidies. British journalists on social media are always announcing how important they are for holding power accountable and keeping the public informed. So it may surprise you to learn that this scandalous practice of misrepresenting state spending to give the appearance of a commitment to unimpeded free market policy went largely uninvestigated by the media at the time. There was and has continued to be a tendency to focus exclusively on official statements and not, you know, what Thatcher's government actually did. Woodward described this as leading to a state-orchestrated masquerade, in which the very people who should have been criticizing the inconsistencies between Thatcher's ideological rhetoric and actual economic policy were instead complicit in it. Perhaps the extremely wealthy owners of our papers and news networks, who were no doubt ecstatic that the tide was turning against labor unions, had something to do with that. Remember, ideology isn't for them, it's for you. Thatcher is famously quoted as saying, economics are the method, the object is to change the heart and soul. Her neoliberal project was not just about selling off publicly owned industries while pumping money into the pockets of private industrialists, although that was one of her signature moves.
British gas shares, they come out in November. If you see Sid, tell him.
Her project was about reorienting the way the people view themselves and their relationship to the state. The post-war consensus imbued the public with the idea that the state owes them. Regular working-class people fought in 2 world wars, rebuilt the country after both of them, and did all of the work that actually keeps the country running. It was justified for them to expect that the state in turn would look after them. This was the idea that Thatcher aimed to dismantle. By cultivating a sense that people are not members of a society in which they owe each other something, but sovereign, entrepreneurial individuals whose value is dictated by their...
Here's an idea for any for any of them, and I don't care if they're my MP or not. Fuck them. If any of them have done PPE anywhere, they are not allowed to call themselves a leftist of any description. Oh, for fuck's sake. There's no such thing as Fabian Society. Thankfully, none of my MPs since I've been alive have been voting, not that I know of at least. So let's see. My first MP was Jackie Bailey, nurse. Then we got Holyrood. Oh, Paul Martin, business. I think he's got. I think Paul Martin was that's his speaker's son by the former speaker Michael Martin. His son was my MSP. Willie Bain. He's a business dude. He's the head of the Scottish CBI now. So the Scottish, he's the head of it up here. Economic cultists. Like Lovecraft cultists. Oh god, it's been years since I've read Lovecraft. I don't think any of my MPs or MSPs have done PPE. So most of them have actually had jobs before being a politician. My current MSP is SNP and he's another business dude. And I think he was, I can't remember. Oh, did you see the good news? Kate Forbes isn't going to be running. she's leaving politics. So when Holyrood gets called next year, she's not running. So her seat's up in the north, Badenoch Strathspey area. So oh, she ran when Hamza was running. She's an evangelical. She's pro-life. Anti-LGBTQI. She done economics. So she was finance minister. She was quite good at it, I suppose. But her social attitude is very different from a lot of people in the SNP. I've got a funny feeling. I think that's why that Kate was one of the main, maybe one of the side reasons that Mary's left the SNP. So no more Kate Forbes. Super hubby liked her. Don't worry, I will educate him. I've got a horrible feeling if we ever do get independence, he'll start voting for whatever right wing. But he doesn't like any of the unionist parties, so Lib Dem, Labour, well, he's older than me. He actually grew up and worked when she was still in power, so no love lost for the Tories. Absolutely despised her. But if we ever get independence, I can actually see him voting right wing. Yeah. That'd be fun. Bloody right winger. And a Marxist being married. He's got some ANCAP, no, not ANCAP flavourings to himself. Weird. She sounds like a One Nationer. You know, like the economic sides of the economics of right wing, but pretty socially liberal. Keep the economics in place, but let everyone be themselves.
Personal financial achievements. The perception of state assistance and publicly owned services began to change. During the post-war period, welfare was seen by many workers as a victory. Their struggles in the labor movement led to a system where if a worker lost their job, was injured, or became ill and unable to work for long periods, the country that their labor had been propping up would have to look after them. They put in, and they could take out when they needed it. But if people are not members of society, but individuals responsible for their own economic security, welfare becomes something shameful. A worker claiming welfare is no longer enjoying their hard-earned right as a worker. They are experiencing failure as an individual who has been unable to support themselves without state assistance. This led to a stigma around benefits, which, of course, has continued to the modern day. And this stigma spread throughout the public services. The state providing something for you became an embarrassment, a shameful thing. Unless, of course, you're a wealthy industrialist accepting millions in government grants. But by concealing the subsidization of private industry and demonizing public services used by the working class, Thatcher eroded solidarity among the working class and transformed many working people from class-conscious subjects who understood their position in society into temporarily embarrassed middle-class homeowners. With programs like Right to Buy, she touted homeownership as the ultimate expression of...
Full clarity here. My mum, when we were still teenagers, so all three of us, used the Right to buy her first... she had rented the house that we grew up in when we were all little girls. Then the flat that we lived in, Mum bought that when we were still in secondary school. So Right to Buy did help my family. And Mum's on the property line. I love the house she's in just now. It's an absolutely fucking brilliant house. But Right to Buy did help my mum. My sister got fucked by Liz Truss. Her insurance, her mortgage rate fucking ballooned. Ours, the one when we were teenagers, the first one that my mum bought. Hang on. Those were just after the war. They were built in the 50s. I think the one that I grew up in when I was a teenager was built in the early 60s. And the one that my mum's currently in was built when I was living in Clydebank, so 27, 28 years old. Oh, God. Yeah, not now. Get back to me. My younger sister is still renting from hers is literally a council house. Mine's isn't. Mine's is a housing association house. It was council. I was a council tenant. I was one of the last ones here in Glasgow, apparently. And there's only a few hundred of us. I think less than 200 who were literally council tenants. So we've still got our old tenancy agreement from Glasgow City Council. Bloody hell. I've been in here for over 20 years. Fucking hell. Slightly better up here. There's still it's all housing associations here now because the sell off, the council sold it off to it's an umbrella association called Glasgow Housing Association, and that was the first thing that took over that. So they just bought all of them in one fell swoop, and there's lots of different areas and stuff. So there's lots of housing. It stepped down. So there's GHA, which is still the umbrella organisation. Then all of them stepped down essentially. So mine's is NG Homes, and lots of the housing associations here in Glasgow are charities, and they have to provide for disabled people. They have to look after us, plus other people who are council tenants. So I'm me and Super Hubby are the last one in this close who are council tenants, previous council tenants. So our rent is ridiculously cheap. What is it? 186 a month. Bandy, lowest band. Obviously, it's a 1-bedroom flat. So my sister's is a 2-bedroom house, but she's transformed into a 3-bedroom because there's her and her partner and my 2 nephews. And 2 animals. A dog and a cat. She's worried that they might actually do what they've done here in Glasgow and change it over to like a housing association. But if they were going to do that, I think Perth and Kinross would have done it by now. So they've still got, they're one of the last councils with properties here in Scotland, I think. There's a few others. But they're one of the last. She loves her house. She's got it perfect the way she likes it. I like her house. It is a cracking wee house. With one of the smallest back gardens ever. If we were to get transferred, if anything goes wrong with this place again and deemed uninhabitable for someone like me who's disabled, they'll move us out, and I just need to say, my rent will just skyrocket. It'll go up to like, they do have 1-bedrooms. They're closer to Springburn Shopping Centre, and they're ground floor. So literally just you walk off the street. The rent for them is 392 or 95 or something a month. Not that I pay, that obviously get housing benefits, so that gets paid to the housing association. But everyone is clamouring because of the bedroom tax. Well, that got mitigated up here, obviously. My rent would go up to just under 400, and the 2 bedrooms are like 480. They're mostly 1 and 2 bedrooms that they own, the housing association, and mostly flats. There's a lot of flats up here in north of Glasgow. Don't get me wrong, still bang front doors with gardens and shit.
Both success and security. Climbing the ladder to become middle class became the new avenue for a worker to improve their conditions, rather than unionizing and struggling for better pay and conditions with other workers. And she was quite successful at increasing the number of homeowners who would now have a personal economic incentive to support certain conservative policies, which she achieved again via government subsidy. She once again interfered in the free market to expand the homeowning population, a crucial step in ideologically shifting the British public towards neoliberal ideals. On the eve of the Thatcherite crusade, half of all workers were trade unionists. By 1995, the number had fallen to a third. The old industries associated with working-class identity were being destroyed. There no longer seemed anything to celebrate about being working class. But Thatcherism promised an alternative. Leave the working class behind, it said, and come join the property-owning middle classes instead. Those who failed to do so would have no place in the new Britain. Another way Thatcher's project was damaging ideologically is it instilled the idea in the public that capitalism and the state are diametrically opposed, that they are antithetical to each other, and as one grows, the other must therefore shrink. In fact, it is a direct byproduct of Thatcherism and the neoliberal turn that so many people who themselves have a fairly sophisticated understanding of capitalism and its problems still view anything other than full-blown libertarian free market economics as somehow hostile to capitalism as a system. Think socialism is when the government does stuff, when the reality is that capitalism needs the state for a great deal of important functions. The state is able to centralize military power and control a monopoly on direct force. Through that force, it is able to protect property rights, which is extremely important if your wealth comes from owning property, rather than selling your labor. It also serves to discipline labor by breaking strikes, criminalizing undesirable behavior, and protecting you, the boss or landlord, from physical retaliation for your economic violence against your workers and tenants. And that's to say nothing of the capacity of the state to subjugate other economies for the enrichment of capitalists at home. We're going to free your economy, even if we have to murder and enslave you to do it. By obfuscating these aspects of the state's function, assisted by a deeply incurious media, by concealing the theft of billions of public funds.
Complicit media. Complicit. Complicit media. For more on that, check out the Downstream where Anne Bastani talks to Peter Oborne, of all people. Still a Tory, but relatively decent one, if such a thing exists. It's quite a good interview. I don't like the fact that he's a Tory, but he's relatively okay, I guess. That interview was done just before the general election last year, so it's about a year old. June? Late May? Early June? Do you know, I don't blame you. I only watch Novara Live when Helena's on. I'm fully bought, fully into Turn Left now. They're brilliant. Fucking love them.
Which were funneled into the private sector by insisting that they are shrinking the state while expanding its authority. The neoliberal politician is able to create an ideological environment where people can oppose the state, oppose all social programs, and associate those positions with greater social and economic freedom, all while supporting the armed aspects of the state which actually enforce a certain social and economic status quo, which reduce both personal and collective freedom, all while never feeling for a second that your views are contradictory. And that is the heart of a lot of modern conservative politics in the UK, the US, and beyond. In Tom Crompton's fantastic essay, Thatcher's Spiral, he lays out the way that Thatcher's political opponents not only sabotaged themselves, but contributed to her ideological process by making the mistake of accepting the premise of her politics. He describes how her opposition adopted her vocabulary, discussing things like labor market flexibility and optimizing labor market performance. Even if they're using these terms to suggest that Thatcher is underperforming in regards to these categories, it accepts the premise of the categories themselves, which is that workers are a commodity in the marketplace. He describes her opposition attacking her government for creating low consumer confidence, which accepts the premise that the reason we work is to consume. In fact, I did precisely this earlier in this video, when I noted that Thatcher had to subsidize British farms because they couldn't outcompete other countries.
Oh, didn't he get me started on his son either. Fuck him. I really want Ply to sweep the Senate next year. Senate? Sorry, Wales. I struggle to pronounce Welsh words. The Welsh Parliament, I hope Ply do well. Fucking bonk. Fucking man frog. I feel for the elections, the local elections next year. Poor Reza. I'll need to talk to Reza to make sure that, see if I can help him anyway. He's panicking, and I didn't blame him before I actually get into that council. Reza, where are you? So I'll need to think of a strategy for him. Or them. I've forgotten their pronouns. I'll play it safe and say they, them. I'll need to help them. Don't want fucking Manfrog's ego getting inflated any fucking more. Oi, Manfrog, go to Clarkton. He seriously should be doing surgeries, not swanning off to fucking the States. And being an absolute fucking detestable bastard in the House of Commons. Oh, yeah, fucking be quiet. I'm trying to leave off bringing him on. We all know what he's like. It's a fucking Thatcherite, for Christ's sake. Do not forget, he started his fucking political journey in the Tories. If you need any fucking more evidence.
Agriculture industries. It's a point that highlights her hypocrisy and total ideological dishonesty, but it also kind of tacitly accepts the idea that the primary goal of the industry that grows our food ought to be competing in the market. The reason we shouldn't want our farms to be run by private interests is not because they compete more effectively when nationally run or funded, but because the production of our food should not be directed by the interests of a few incredibly rich landowners, who themselves will never want for food. Because our need to eat often contradicts the needs of the market, as seen in the metric tons of food destroyed every year because overproduction would drive prices down and crash the industry, while people are literally starving. Just as Thatcher's political opponents defeated themselves by accepting her ideological premises uncritically, if we wish to criticize and understand neoliberalism today, we cannot make the mistake of taking it at face value. Arguing against an ethos of privatization and small government is not a problem in and of itself, but doing so risks accepting the premise that this is the primary objective of neoliberal politics. While Thatcher and the many neoliberal governments around the world that followed her absolutely carried out privatization and deregulation, they aggressively used the state. The state is a tool, and it can be used to direct public money. That's taxpayer money and the income from publicly owned services into the hands of their friends. Neoliberalism is a project of theft. Theft of the services and money that we own, that we ought to control, and theft of our sense of self, our ability to see ourselves as human actors and not market commodities. And certainly the theft of resources from countries who cannot defend themselves from major powers. Neoliberal governments do not promote free trade, they promote their control over trade, especially through imperialism. They do not promote free association between workers and bosses, they promote greater control of bosses over workers. And they do not promote smaller government, they expand the aspects of government that exert control on you and me. When you strip away all the rhetoric about the free market and the cute pseudo-economics, that's the only thing you find in the black heart of neoliberalism, a ravenous need for control. No matter how many people have to die or how many governments we have to coup. So why on earth should our main arguments about neoliberalism be about the free market? What free market?
So all the kids are bastards, but don't blame them, yeah, they learn my example. Blame the folks who sold the future for the highest bid. That's right, Thatcher, fuck the kids.
Okay, that is creeping up on... Yeah, he's got lots of good videos if you want to check him out. That delightful little furry, that was Skittles, Kay's ferret. She be funny. I get to see videos of her on Patreon. Seriously, ferrets are mad things. I love them. I would never inflict a ferret into this fucking flat though. I wouldn't inflict it on any poor creature. Don't get me wrong, I'd love a pet. I think I could possibly safely get a hamster again. Oh, I had hamsters growing up. My first one was called... I'll talk for a few minutes. If anyone's got any questions, then I'll... Would you like to raid? I can raid you into someone if you like, or I can just sort of just end. So that's 3 o'clock. Up to me. Okay. So yeah, yeah, I had hamsters. My first one was called Nibbles. Guess what he done? My second one was called Worf. Guess what I'm a fan of? Including the character, by the way. So yeah, Worf absolutely loved his ball. Another big plus, put him in his ball and he used to go whizzing around the flat. He was delightfully insane little hamster. Never had a cat. Technically I had a dog. She lived with my gran round the corner. She was a golden retriever called Honey. Very protective of me apparently. She hated my dad. So that was just a weird fun. She used to growl at him until Mum divorced him when I was 6 years old. No, 7. The decree absolute went through when I was 7, but she started doing it when I was 5.5. Decree nisi when I was 6. Decree absolute when I was 7 years old. Primary 2 or 3? Primary 3? We were fully living in Perth at that point. So Honey stayed round the corner from my from where I was. I loved her. She was nearly 18 when we had to put her to sleep. The arthritis had just taken her over. I will go. Oh, this should be charged by now, actually, when I think of it. Are you charged? You're charged. Fantastic. My phone is fully charged. You can get unplugged. Oh, you know, get off. There we go. I got a YouTube alert half an hour ago. Simon Clark is doing absolute fucking mental thing to raise money for a charity. 840 full lengths of a swimming pool in one day. Simon, you are mental. Go and watch Simon Clark. He's really quite good. The atmospheric physicist. Whoa. But he's good at explaining shit. Very good, actually. Oh, my, yeah. Onto my stream. I will read you into... Where the hell is it? I was up here. Let's see who is going, Stream Manager. So, 1 hour 40. I think this has got to be one of my shortest streams ever. Okay. Thank you, Jim. Always a pleasure. Read. Dabfather. Nah, no, that's fine. Butterport. Ooh, based Canadian. Baby Game Shift. Squiddier. Oh, Segway. Kai. Based Australian Zacap. Oh, Glottal's still going. Lucky Starfoot. Gnome. Moodles. Oh, Raptor must have stopped. I will raid you into... Where is he? I just saw him. There he's there. I will raid you all into Base Canadian Maple Takes. Spam my emotes. Spam the emotes. Bonk. Wildcard Strike. Where is it? And vote green. Because Green Party member. And my new one. Go. New emote. Right at the end. No problem, Eldon. I will catch you later. Good luck sticking it to Angie. Yeah, fucking love it. Stay hydrated. Self-care. Stay based. Catch us all later. Oh, wish me luck for my cardiac testing tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. Today.